Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, do all the good stuff. We are watching a new creator on this channel. Anime ruined me. I can only imagine how this video is about to go.
I did not set out to cry over anime sword wielding teenagers, but it did happen. One minute I'm collecting Pokemon plushies, the next I'm wearing a brown military jacket and feeling extremely patriotic for a country that doesn't exist. But
Oh, okay. That's what this is going to be. This is the official AOT review video.
before I tell you how I got there, let me just say this. When I first discovered anime, it hit me in a way that nothing really else had.
You use Darling in the Franks as an example. I'm just trolling. I'm trolling. Relax, relax. Don't come at me.
It was the first time I'd watched a show that not only didn't kind of skip
Toradora, right? That's what that one
it
is.
past some of these heavier emotions, it also didn't even deliver them in the typical
Fruit
way that I had
Basket,
been used to. It
never seen it.
really sat in them, soaked in them uncomfortably at times,
I haven't seen
and
that one
it
either.
caused something in me to shift. The characters weren't
Oh, now that's a solid pick. That's a solid pick, bro. There's the couple. I haven't seen all the different fates because there's too fucking many in the timeline. It's all sorts of fucked up, and it's hard to keep track of like what's a spinoff of this and what side fucking thing is this, and then like this is part of the main story, but it's kind of not. It's technically a part of this main story, so it's like I just gave up. All right, so like occasionally, like Fate Zero is the first one that I ever seen. And then I watched Fate Stay Night, and then what was the other one where it's like Saber, but she's like got the fucking crazy armor on, dark armor, whatever the fuck. Everybody's seen the clips of that one. I can't remember what that one's called, but I seen that one.
just cool or funny or exaggerated. They were emotional disasters in the very best way. Screaming, breaking down, trying
Dude, Parasite,
to
yes,
hold everything together. Loud, messy,
so good.
sometimes even ridiculous, but
Oh, oh, after my own heart, bro. Hunter x Hunter is still like you can see my poster. It's actually in the background. Hold on. Uh, I forgot that we're in this setup now. You see, all the way in the back there, all the way in the back there, right below the little fire system alarm. There's my Hunter x Hunter poster, and it's Gon, Hisoka, and Killua. And it's one of those like 3D ones. It's like super sick because like as you walk past it, it changes. It's so nice. And then wait, there's my dog right there, my Doge. And then of course you got the Itadori Yuji, and then my Dragon Ball Z pillow, and then over here you have all of my um like just let's see, right there is like my Vegeta figures and shit like that, and then my samurai swords. Two of those are practice swords. One of them's real, and then of course my shield that I made myself, and I'm actually got to polish the steel around the edge because yeah, yeah, it's getting kind of rusty. I gotta get that rust off of there, and then freaking throw some oil on that sucker.
it never felt fake. All their pain, their joy, their hope, it all felt extremely real.
Never seen the show, never seen it. Probably never will. It's just not. It's not my cup of tea, man. It's not my cup of tea.
It wasn't just entertaining, it was very true. Sometimes
Yes, Death Note.
brutal, sometimes beautiful, sometimes both in the same 5 seconds. I'm talking extremely complicated trauma and high stakes drama. And the
Right.
monologues that would just want to make you hit pause and sit there.
I will say. I will say the speeches that they gave in AOT were so fucking hype. I mean, every time the suspense, the background music, like the score, everything came together. And every time a speech was delivered, the words were chosen so carefully and so perfectly to encapsulate that moment and build the hype, and it was always intense to watch. I loved it. I loved it.
There just to catch your breath. And the animation, whether beautiful, grotesque, or dreamlike, it carried all of it. It made all of the feelings land, and it's some of the most beautiful art that I've ever seen. And with all of
True.
this, anime completely changed how I think about storytelling, about characters, about performances, about what draws you in and what keeps you there. I didn't even realize how much of it had shaped what I love, especially in games, until way, way later. And I didn't know it at the time, but that was when I started falling in love with a different kind of storytelling. The kind that remains with you and then shows up days later when you're just brushing your teeth, like, wait, why am I still thinking about that scene? And eventually, that love bled into the games I played too. Don't get me wrong, I need great mechanics and gameplay, but I started paying more attention to all of the gut punches in the more narrative games. The way that a scene is
Mm.
paced, the way a line is delivered, how sometimes silence can even
I've noticed this not so much. I mean, well, yes, from a gaming perspective, I have as well, but from an anime perspective, I've noticed I've come to the point now where I've seen so many shows to the point that every new show I watch, I forget an old one. And I look at these shows from a more critical perspective than I never looked at them before. Uh, 'Cause I mean, there's points where I'm like, if I know where a certain cliche is going, I know what scenes they're setting up, I literally skip the scene. I will literally I'll go through the rest of the episode. I was like, okay, something else crazy happened. No, all right, I'm gonna jump to the next episode. I like I don't know. I like my big thing is like I don't like wasting time, right? So like when I know something is gonna happen, and if I see like so like I don't really watch anime on other platforms aside from Crunchyroll for the most part. Some other platforms like Blue Box, I watch that on Netflix. There's a couple shows I'm watching on Prime, but that's about the extent of it. Majority, like 99% of the shows that I watch are all on Crunchyroll. So when I scroll through through certain scenes when they start up, and I'm like, okay, I know where this is going, and then like the little boxes pop up with the little previews and stuff like that, and I'm just like, okay, this is obviously going where I think it's gonna go, so I'm gonna scroll through and I'm gonna see, okay, anything crazy gonna happen this episode? Maybe they're gonna subvert expectations. That'll be interesting to watch. If they do that, I will sit there and watch through the moment that I know is going to play out exactly how I think it's going to play out. But other times when it's literally cookie cutter, the exact same thing that I've seen a thousand other times, I literally just scroll through the episode and say, okay, it's all the same stuff. Jump back in on the credits, jump to the next episode because I don't know. I guess you could say I'm not like out of love with anime, right? But I'm at the point to where something really has to grab my attention in order to keep me invested in a show. Like, I don't know, it's got to be able to like subvert the cliches a little bit. It's got to be able to present the same meal, but somehow make it taste different for me to sit there and just watch and like not want to either fast forward through something or skip a couple scenes and continue the episode or maybe even jump to a whole new episode like I said earlier. Like it's tough. It's tough.
hit harder than dialogue. Anime helped me realize that storytelling is not just about plot, it's about feeling. And once I noticed that, I could not unsee it. It's a huge part of why I care so much about the stories and characters I engage with now. So, yes, this is my anime origin story. Because anime didn't just introduce me to cool characters and wild drama, even though it Yes, it absolutely did. But it showed me what I've always really loved: emotional, impactful storytelling.
I remember when I was a kid and I was watching Saturday cartoons, right? Um And I remember hearing the Dragon Ball Z theme song come on for the first time and didn't understand a word of what the fuck they were saying. And I saw the previews for the episode, and it was the battle between Vegeta and Goku. Keep in mind, I'm young. This is the first time I've ever seen anime in my life. And I came from a point of life, not to get too crazy personal here, but I came from a point of life where I had nothing. I had nothing and I wanted everything. So when I saw this fight, and this is like when they were doing, I don't know if you guys remember this, but back in the day, Saturday cartoons, you would have your typical, your Tom and Jerry's, your Popeye the Sailor Man, your Fred Flintstones, but then there was a little section of like 4, 5 episodes of anime that you could get on there. And when I watched it, I remember seeing the fight between Vegeta and Goku completely out of context. I saw nothing before this point. The first glimpse of anime I ever got was watching that fight. And I remember watching Vegeta's struggles. And although I couldn't quite comprehend what the message he was trying to portray to me was, I could relate to that message because through the way that he was drawn, the way they made him feel, the way they made him act, I fully understood that he was basically the same as me. He was somebody who also had nothing. He had nothing left to him. The only person that he cared about was Nappa, and he fucking murdered his ass. So, and granted, I didn't know he killed Nappa. I never saw that part. The part that I saw was when they literally physically started fighting. They did the stance and then immediately went into a fight. So, knowing that he lost everything and had nothing and then wanted everything for himself, I realized that me and him were essentially the same person, but he didn't exist and I did. So that was a crazy, like, hard hitting experience that essentially hooked me into anime for the rest of my life. Now I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I was always into anime because there was a good portion of my life where I didn't watch anime at all. Throughout, I would say, middle school and high school, I didn't watch any anime at all. Trade school was like my introduction back into anime, and college is when I really started watching anime. And now, of course, I watch anime like it's my job, even though, I mean, well, it's a hobby now, but hopefully one day it'll be my job. But the point is, I fully understand where she's coming from in the fact that sometimes, like, it doesn't take much for something to absolutely hook you in and you just absolutely want to see where it goes, because that's essentially what happened to me. Because once I went back, and you know what actually reintroduced me to anime? Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Dragon Ball Z Abridged gave me an insane nostalgia trip because I started watching it with a buddy of mine, and I was like, wait a minute, I've seen this before, haven't I? And that's when of course, I start shifting through the archives of my brain, and I'm just like, oh wait, no, I have seen this before. And I went back and I rewatched it, and it brought those feelings back out of me, and it was insane. It was like a return to childhood that I never had for I don't know how long. It was such a beautiful moment, man. This anime is something else, and gaming too. Gaming can be that way for people. I feel like there's gonna be a point that like maybe cross my
Let's begin.
fingers if I'm lucky Bethesda will do a remake of Skyrim and release another version of Skyrim, and it'll be hilarious when that happens, by the way. Because I'm gonna be honest, it's probably gonna happen, but that is gonna be a nostalgia trip. Because I'm gonna be honest, I have Skyrim still downloaded, still modded. The problem is I just don't have the will to play it. I mean, there's so many other games that I would rather spend my time in now, just because like that's just how I've changed as a person. Because back in the day, my brother wanted me to play all sorts of shit. He had all sorts of different games he wanted me to try, and I always said no. And he's like, "Well, why not?" And I was like, "I'm just gonna play Skyrim." Yeah, but spent way too much time into that game, man.
Like many 90s kids, I was deep in the Pokemon trenches. Cards, VHS tapes, plushies,
Cards in the games. I was into the cards for a while, and I dropped the cards and went into the games. Oh,
full Pikachu lifestyle. And then when it came to what was allowed and what was not allowed, Dragon Ball Z was totally fine. Somehow watching
yes.
a guy scream in a crater for 10 minutes was considered acceptable viewing, but Sailor Moon, that was a no-go. My mom said that the villains
Yeah, I never got to see Sailor Moon. I never did. It was just never something that I was exposed to as a kid.
were too scary. Well, mom, I'm so sorry if this is how you're finding out, but
Yeah, to be fair, my aunt and uncle who adopted me, they didn't even let me play football. So I get that. I get the limitations for sure. I've had plenty of those put on me.
I still watched it. I didn't even know that it was anime at the time. I just knew that it had cute outfits, big feelings, talking cats with beautiful jewelry, and romance. It was
Hell
magical
yeah.
and theatrical and completely unlike anything else on TV at the time. Flash forward to college. Yes, I know, that is quite the time jump. I had kind of forgotten about Pokemon and Sailor Moon, and
Hey, hey, that's literally the same as me. What the fuck? Hold on. I don't like this. I don't like this at all. I don't like relating to things. This is making me uncomfortable.
life was totally normal. I was totally normal until one day my boyfriend at the time, who's now my husband, said, I know you don't really watch anime, but we should totally watch this show called Attack on Titan. And to
AOT was her reintroduction to anime? Bruh. Hey, yo, that's tough. That's tough. W show to come back on, but my God. Oh my God, is that a lot to go through?
say I just watched it is a complete understatement. I suddenly went from having zero thoughts about anime ever to spiraling into emotional chaos. Within 4 episodes, I was pacing around my room, pausing, rewinding, attempting to memorize every ad break lore dump. It was just over for me at that point, just like that. Up until this point, I truly had never experienced storytelling delivered in this kind of way. It was extreme.
Dude, when Aaron switched up, that was crazy. That shit went so hard, bro. You want to talk about aura farming? My God.
Extremely visceral, heavy. And it wasn't just dramatic, it felt very urgent, and I was instantly obsessed. At this point in time, I hadn't even noticed that anime wasn't quite cool yet. I didn't care. I was too busy spiraling. Shortly after discovering what anime was, I
That is true. Now that I think about it, like anybody who's like 30 years old or older has seen the full evolution of anime. Maybe not from like a weekly perspective, right? Because that's like from a weekly perspective, then you would have to be way back to like Astro Boy. But anybody who's like 30 and up pretty much knows like the evolution of anime being a very like niche like closet thing that you do like a otaku to now where you can literally go to your grocery store, go to the cereal aisle, and Goku's going to be on one of the boxes. Or you could be like me and you can go to your local Walmart and grab yourself a Goku t-shirt. You can go get a My Hero t-shirt, Demon Slayer. I literally just got a Demon Slayer and Naruto shirt just recently from Walmart. It's kind of nuts to me. It's kind of crazy. It's how far it's come. Cause like I don't know, like anime was always one of those things that you did kind of keep concealed, but it was never something that like I ever saw anybody like get bullied for. At least in my circle growing up in Iowa, there was bullying. Don't get me wrong, there was bullying, but it was never over like anime. It was always over like gaming, or it was over um there were like the Yu-Gi-Oh guys at school. They got their asses bullied like crazy. There was one kid who got their entire collection, or like they brought like a what was it, like a Ziploc bag, like it's like one of those gallon sized ones, and he had all sorts of cards and shit in there. He wanted to show them off to people, and it was literally stolen from him by the end of the day. And I'm pretty sure the person who stole it didn't even keep it. They just threw it in the fucking dumpster, dude. Like, school was brutal, for people who did outside of the norm things when I was growing up. Yeah, it was not kind at all to you. But anime was never something that was the target of that, at least from what I could overhear and understand back then. Generally speaking, it was usually centered around people who were like gamers, for example, because that was one that was more public, but it was kind of frowned upon. But you still also had like your close knit friends who you could go game with. Because I remember going over to my boy's house and we were playing Call of Duty back in the day. Uh, we would bring our like Game Boys and stuff, and he would hop on Pokemon Fire Red, and I'd be on Leaf Green, and we'd just be fucking jamming. It was kind of interesting to see how times have really changed people.
I discovered what manga was. And the next thing I know, there I was reading manga in the Barnes and Noble aisle like I was studying some kind of forbidden lore. I had no table,
Dude, Barnes and Noble, I need that. I need that. We don't have one where I live, bro. I miss it.
no chair. It was just me crouched in the graphic novel section like I was decoding prophecy. It had truly felt
Bro,
like I had discovered some kind of secret society. I started watching AMVs and binging lore deep dives on YouTube like they were documentaries. At some point, I even walked into Hot Topic with my part time job money and walked out with the jacket. You know the one, the brown,
hell yeah.
glorious, cursed Attack on Titan jacket. And I wore it like it was high fashion. Like I had some kind of personal invite from
I actually like I guess that's like how my taste has changed a little bit. Like, cause like this shirt, right? This shirt's got like a fair bit of graphic on it. This is not something I would typically go for if I'm like going out and hanging out with people at like say, or going to a bar or going to an event or something like that. I'm not wearing this shirt. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not running around with a big ass Goku shirt. All right. But I do have like you can see it in like previous videos that I have my orange Dragon Ball Z hat, which is like subtly Dragon Ball Z, or it's got like the Dragon Ball Z kind of like off to the side here, but like the hat is just straight orange, and it's more of like a style statement than anything else. That's more so what I would go for if I were to rep anime outside of um just kind of me, taking my dog for a walk or something like that. Like if I'm walking my dog, like I don't care if I'm rocking the Goku tee. But I do like to be like, I guess it's something that's changed for me as I've kind of grown into myself and being more confident and stuff. I do try to be a little bit more presentable and kind of give a shit what I look like. And I guess like that's something that's just kind of new for me. Like I never really cared before. Like even like right now, like I got accessories on my arms and stuff like that. That's not something I never really cared about before. But it is kind of fun. Like there's like a low key, it's kind of fun. So when I see stuff like this, like the AOT jacket right here, I think that's okay. It's like the little badge, it's kind of, it's kind of sick. As long as like you don't turn the hoodie around or the jacket around like this, and it doesn't have like a big ass like picture of Levi's face or some shit, because then it's just like, okay, fucking huge nerd alert. Like, yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird for me.
from Levi himself. At this point, I've been through all of our photos like 10 times trying to find a single one of me wearing this jacket, and I can't freaking find it. So you're just gonna have to take my word for it, please. But it was my go to, I promise. Until one day I was at a coffee shop ordering a drink, and the barista, in front of a full line of people, just points at my jacket and goes, "Oh, hey, isn't that from an anime?" And I just kind of froze because this was the first time I'd ever had to say it out loud to a stranger in public, people listening all around me, and it totally caught me off guard. I said, "Yeah, it's from Attack on Titan." And immediately I felt the ice. The guy behind me
when somebody says, because like it happens to me too sometimes, like if I got this shirt on, I go to the store or whatever, and the cashier or maybe one of the employees or somebody in the store in general, a shopper, is just like, hey man, I really like your shirt, dude, that's cool. Like I'm like, hell yeah, man, cool. Unless, and I've had this happen. Now, for you younger people, y'all won't even understand this, but there used to be a thing called CD stores where you would go physically get a CD with your favorite album on it or whatever the fuck you were trying to pick up at the time. I remember going to a CD store to get Eminem's Curtain Call, and I had a Goku shirt on. Was it a Goku shirt? Or was it just a Dragon Ball Z shirt? I think it was a Dragon Ball Z shirt. And some kid who, and this is also like before everybody in the anime community and gaming community started cracking down on people for having poor fucking hygiene. This kid, clearly fucking emotionally unstable ass kid, came up to me and said, "Hey, nice shirt, dude. I think that's super cool." He was super socially awkward, which is like fine. It's whatever. It's like no big deal. But the part that was a big deal was his nappy fucking hair that was like super stuck together because it was super oily, and he clearly fucking hasn't fucking, either he has 30 cats at home or he never took care of his shirt at all with a lint roller, and he had some serious BO. And I was like, "Oh, those are the ones where I'm like, sure. Hey, see ya. Hey, thanks. Bye. Hey, cool, bro. I'll see ya." Those are the ones where I shut down and I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna leave now. This is awkward. I don't want to be around you. Thank you for acknowledging my shirt. I don't want to be an asshole, but you fucking smell. But I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna take my leave.
Girl near the pastry case, all silent, confused, judging. I honestly felt like I just confessed to being in a cult, but like a very enthusiastic one with playlists and fan art. And that was my first real indicator that anime was still very much a niche thing in public. The
True.
jacket? Yeah, it quietly got reassigned to around my house only. But despite the jacket incident, I continued to dive deeper and deeper. Pulling up Crunchyroll, I was adding every big title I'd ever heard mentioned to my watch list. Tokyo
Yo, I remember when I first got Crunchyroll and I had Verve, which isn't around anymore, but Verve was like the sister company of Crunchyroll. And oh my god, my watch list had like 300 fucking shows on it. Nowadays, it still has a fair few. It's got like 30 now, but like that's nothing compared to what it was. I've pretty much seen almost everything that I want to see that Crunchyroll currently has in their catalog. And for anybody who doesn't know, that's like damn near 900 shows. Because I don't know what kind of regions you guys live in, but here in the US, we have access to almost every show that Crunchyroll offers.
Ghoul, Fate Stay Night, Maid Sama, big title I'd ever heard mentioned to my watch list.
I will rant about this to the end of time. The most disappointing fucking show I've ever seen. Tokyo Ghoul had so much upside. If they would have just not fucked with it and they would have progressed the story in a better, more interesting way, kept the characters the same without fucking going through this crazy fucking animation change, it would have been one of the greatest shows of all time. But Tokyo Ghoul RE is one of the worst shows I've ever fucking seen, and it left so much to be desired.
Tokyo Ghoul, Fate Stay Night, Maid Sama, Cowboy Bebop, Sword Art Online. But every
Oh god. Oh god. SAO is another one. SAO is one of those that has fake edgy in it that pisses me off, right? Because like how many molestation scenes do you have in your show? Like it doesn't even further the plot. It's just this little like, hey, isn't this bad? Like you guys agree, right? This is a bad thing that they're doing. That's how it feels. It feels pandering. It feels like Captain Obvious, like, yeah, these guys are evil. Look at what they're doing. Like, I hate that shit. I hate it so much, bro. Like, I'm okay with edgy shows. Don't get me wrong. I like edgy shows, but they have to use like Solo Leveling, for example. The edginess of the fucking show is what progresses the plot forward rather than it just being a filler piece. Very obvious, like cliche. This is the bad guy. We're using this to kind of tell you they're the bad guy. And the reason I knew that this was a crutch was because every single fucking season there's one scene where somebody's getting molested. Season 1, it was Asuna. Season 2, it was Sinon. And then pretty much after that I stopped and I was like this show is fucking garbage. And later on all those clips and shit came out of the two girls at the same time. And I was like, how many times you got to beat this dead horse? Like, just give me a show that's like uses this as like a proper like development point. Hunter x Hunter is another perfect example of a show that uses edgy content to further the plot in a sort of way, right? Kite. Everybody knows who Kite is if you've seen the show. He went through the worst and they use that to further the plot of the entire Chimera Ant arc and Gon achieving a new level of power by sacrificing so much. It's insane.
Every show hit totally different, and my lineup was questionable, to say the least. I'd go from watching people get decapitated in Akame
Oh my god.
Kill to crying over piano scenes in Your Lie in April to quietly sobbing through A Silent Voice. The
Of course she had to bring up A Silent Voice, bro. That's the one and only show that I've ever cried like a fucking bitch watching. And I will say it because I don't care. I don't care. I'm a fucking man. And, I'm a fucking man. And even men cry. We're not gonna pretend that you don't. You either cried when you got married for the first time, or you cried when you had your first child. These are things that will bring it out of you, whether you want to fight it back or not. And A Silent Voice is one of those things that just brought it out. It wasn't even like crying, but like still holding it in, crying. It was like bawling, like ugly crying. Like, oh my god, dude, that fucking movie affected me so bad, dude. Bro, oh, it's so good.
emotional tone shifts were at times very wild, but somehow it all
That movie, and I'll let her go on here after I finish this, but um, that movie is what literally solidified anime as something I can permanently not let go ever. Like I could stop for the next 10, 15 years, but then I would end up coming back to anime anyway because that movie left such an impact on my fucking soul.
worked together very weirdly well. But really, I should have known that I was primed for this because before anime ever got to me, I had no idea that Kingdom Hearts had already paved the way. Going back to my childhood for a quick flashback. In 2005, my parents got me a PS2 Slim for my birthday. And
Hell yeah.
with it, not
Question. Black one or the silver one? I had the silver one. The silver one was so lit, bro.
other than Kingdom Hearts. From the gorgeous title screen music to blasting Simple and Clean in the first cutscene, I was just sitting on the floor, controller in hand, completely captivated by what I was seeing. The animation, the dreamlike tone, at that point in time, I
Bro.
had not experienced anything like it, and I just kept replaying it. I would restart the game over and over again just to watch the intro, and whenever friends would come over to play, I'd be like, hold on, wait, let me just show you this really cool thing real fast. And I would boot up a whole new save file. They didn't always appreciate it, shall I say, but I was totally hooked. And that was probably my first real taste of emotional storytelling in games. But getting back on track, let's talk about some of the first characters I really fell in love with. The ones who maybe hit me at the worst
All
possible
right, let's
time
hear it.
in the best possible way, and the ones I still think about more often than I probably should. The characters that truly unlocked my love for anime and impactful, heart-shaping storytelling. And along the way, I'll just be throwing out some game references that match the vibes, just in case. Now,
The
one thing about
vibes.
me, I love a good archetype. The soft
All right.
healer, the angry prodigy, the
Yep.
stoic weapon who absolutely feels too much but pretends otherwise. And the best part, these aren't just anime things. They show up in games all the time too. It's like emotional damage has its own genre, and I must really love it. Otherwise, you think that I would have learned my lesson by now. So up first, we're gonna kick off our list with a bit of a gimme, Eren Yeager.
Yep. Yep. That's fair.
The one who really started it all for me. He's angry, impulsive, and reckless, but kind of with just enough righteous fire that you root for him anyway. Watching Aaron start to crack under the weight of everything, questioning his purpose, doubting himself, and then doubling down even harder, it felt very raw in a way that I hadn't seen before. And say what you want, but I am an Aaron defender till the end. And honestly, once you've defended Aaron Yeager, defending Joel from The Last of Us kind of feels like child's play. Edward from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, my favorite
Fair.
short king. He's cocky, brilliant, and carrying so much guilt for a child. He's also very fiercely protective. His entire drive, the constant fixing, sacrificing, it always comes back to Al. That sibling bond is really the emotional engine for the entire show. And Edward will hit you right in the feelings, especially if you love characters like Prompto from Final Fantasy 15, the ones who kind of joke their way through pain but would throw themselves in front of danger without any hesitation. Akame from Akame ga Kill.
Man, Akame got killed was tough. Oh, it was tough, bro. That's one of those shows where you're like, if you get attached to anybody, you better start praying. Oh man, it's so tough. It's so tough.
She's very efficient, quiet, and emotional in all the ways that sneak up on you. She doesn't talk that much, but when she does, it hits you very hard. And her final fight with Esdeath, I don't think I'd ever seen a female character quite like her. She was so beautifully lethal and emotionally unreadable. I've yet to play Nier myself yet, I'm so sorry, but from what I do know, she reminds me a lot of 2B. Calm, focused, repressed, but
Mm.
somehow still very emotionally devastating. Kaori from Your Lie in April. She's so bright, beautiful, and tragic, and is just one of those
True.
characters that very gently destroys you. And she wasn't just some manic pixie dream girl, she was hurting and then still trying to bring light to everybody else around her. Gave very much Aerith, very much you'll cry, rewatch, and question your mental stability. Terror and Resonance, whole cast. This show caught me
Fair.
so off guard. I thought I was just gonna get like a cool, moody thriller, and suddenly I was totally devastated. It's very quiet and beautiful and so heavy in a way that just kind of sneaks up on you. Kind of like if Inside or
They need to make a new genre of anime called the punishment genre, where it's just absolutely emotionally manipulative shows that hook you in, get you attached to characters, and then absolutely ruin your fucking day. Oh man, it needs to be its own like niche genre, dude.
Journey had more dialogue and drama. Asuna from Sword Art Online, one of my first real favorites. She could have been just the love interest, but she's so much more. Strong-willed, smart, emotionally aware, and very quietly fierce. I loved how she could be terrifying with the sword and then turn around and offer someone gentle encouragement. She kind of reminds me of Sherry from Resident Evil 6. Yes, I know, very different tones, but stay with me. Both very composed, sharp, and kind of even keel under pressure. And she's really been through it, but she doesn't make a huge deal about it. There's such a quiet strength to her that is so steady and likable. By this point, I had realized anime wasn't just good, it was crafted. And I think that's part of what made me fall in love with it all. Anime made space for emotional storytelling in a way that just felt very true and lifelike. It wasn't afraid to sit with very messy, intense stuff. Grief, longing, rage, hope, and really just give it room to breathe. The pacing, the pauses, the way a scene can flip from goofy to gut wrenching in seconds and still feel totally earned. What really got me, especially kind of earlier on, was the very vast emotional range. The screaming, the crying, the sheer intensity, it was all so exaggerated but very intentional and authentic. I would go watch Western animation and then anime would just feel so much more.
Yeah, if you wanted to make an argument, I would say anime feels much more human. Well, cartoons kind of like American cartoons are kind of meant more so to be what you think they would be. Um but they're not. I don't know. There's no cartoon that I could even think of that would be near as relatable as even half of the anime characters that I know of at this point.
Mature almost. Like, I don't know, like it was some kind of higher level. Kind of like going from normal cable TV to HBO, at least in years past. They've had some struggles recently. In fact, anime was one of the very first things that got me interested in voice acting. The delivery, the breath work, the emotional cadence of a single line. It all very much blew my mind, and it kind of planted the seed for something that I did not know that I'd end up pursuing later. And yes, I have seen so many sweet comments about my voice, and it really means more than you guys could ever know. I have been voice acting as a hobby for the past 4 years, and no, you haven't really heard me in anything that you would know yet, but hopefully soon. So thank you so much for all of the kind
Okay.
words. Also, a bit of a confession. I was totally a sub only purist when I started out. The raw emotional delivery in Japanese just
No, she's right. She's right. She's right. She's right. I'm not gonna pretend to try to take the high ground here. No, it's I think majority of fans were sub only, but nowadays you can't say that. You just can't. There are far too many amazing dubs for you to be able to just write them off as a general idea. For example, Attack on Titan, insane dub. Call of the Night, very good dub. Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball's dub has come such a long way. It's almost like inconceivable to think that it was never not this good. Um, there are some. Oh, actually, Trinity Seven is another one that is on a completely different level, like different spectrum for the type of show that it is. That has an insanely good dub. Oh my god! Like it's such a like a etchy like we don't apologize for how hilariously good this show is. um one that isn't talked about very much that I wish would get talked about more. Well, two of them. Case Study of Vanitas. I really wish I would get some more spotlight. That has an amazing fucking show. That is an amazing fucking show. And then K. If you guys have not seen those two shows, you're doing yourself a disservice. K is insane. K is insane. Hold on a minute. Let me put you guys on real quick. Let me put you guys on. This show, K. Oh, oh, it's so good. Oh, it's so freaking good. One of the best shows I've ever fucking seen. The aesthetic goes hard. The animation goes hard. The acting is insane. It's so good, dude. It's so good. That's one I recommend. And of course, the one that I just said, Case Study, if I can learn how to spell, uh, Case Study of Vanitas is another one. This show as well. Oh my God, it's so insanely good. Oh,
hit different. But recently, I have found myself loving the dubs. 100 Girlfriends, Solo Leveling.
100 Girlfriends was so good. W fucking point. Oh my God. If you guys haven't seen this show, it is exactly what you think it is, but it is self aware of that fact and it takes it to the moon. The pop culture references in this show were some of the best I've ever seen. Like, it really brought like the Gintama fan back out to me. Because like Gintama, like it breaks the fourth wall a lot. This show doesn't really break the fourth wall like that, but it keeps the pop culture references. Oh, oh, it's so good, dude. Oh,
The performances have just been so good. And
Solo Leveling, the actor for Jin Woo, insane, insane. I'm so glad Solo Leveling got um anime of the year. Also, another one, Eminence and Shadow. Eminence and Shadow, the dub goes insanely hard.
And I have a whole new appreciation now that I've
It just made me think of it because they both aura farms.
actually met people in the industry. Matching the timing, the intensity, and still making lines feel very emotionally grounded, it is definitely not easy. And English voice actors
True.
have to honor the tone and the rhythm of the original while still making it seem completely authentic in a totally different language.
Yeah, Jinwoo's voice and Shadow's voice, or AKA Sid Kagano, their voices were like so like raw and visceral and just fucking gritty. Oh, so good. They put every emotion into those screams.
They've come a long way and it's only been getting better and better. So, yeah, I did not grow up watching anime, and at some point, I kind of fell off again. And it's not because I stopped liking it, but because life had just got in the way. These days, I
True.
keep up with the bigger ones: Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, Mashal, but I haven't really.
I tried so hard to get into Mashal because of everybody was talking it up. I just couldn't, dude. I couldn't. It's like I don't know. It's like a failed attempt at writing a character to be like Saitama, because like Saitama was written in a similar fashion, but Saitama still gets some character development that kind of keeps you into his character. For Mashal, it's not that way. Mashal is literally in between these two lines. He never leaves. He never creates a crack or a bump in the road. He literally just sticks to his lane only. And that is so hard for me to watch.
Fallen into something in a long time. Lately, though, I've been wanting to change that. Not just watching like a filthy casual, but actually getting really back into it. I miss caring way too much about fictional people in a fun way because anime didn't just kick off a phase.
I think that's kind of where the point where I'm at. I'm at the point where I really need that show that is going to make me sit down and say, I can't put this down until I finish it. I have to keep going. I have to see the weeklies. I haven't had that feeling since probably since the initial return of Dragon Ball with Dragon Ball Super, which actually, now that I think about it, that wasn't the case either because I dropped Super for a while and then ended up binging it and only watched the episodes that me and my buddy watched. So I guess not even that. Like not even that. I wasn't even nearly as invested in that. And most of the other shows that I've seen have already aired. All their episodes are up on Crunchyroll, so I didn't have to catch the weeklies. Um, because like even like the ones that I'm like super into right now, which is Apothecary Diaries and um what the hell is it called? The one with the witch Alice. What the heck? Oh man, I see their faces. I can't think of the name of the show. But anyway, point is, even those shows with how good they are, I still haven't cared to catch the weeklies. Like I'm just waiting till they're done, and then I'm gonna binge them. So I don't know. I don't know. It's weird. Like a part of me really wants that show that's gonna force me to sit down and catch it every single week because that level of excitement and joy is something that I haven't felt in I don't know how long.
It made me realize the kinds of stories I'm always going to be drawn to. The ones that are soft and heavy at the same time, the beautifully flawed characters, the emotional gut punches, the quiet moments that hit louder than the hard ones. It's the same
True.
feeling that I get from games like Red Dead Redemption 2, Final
Fair.
Fantasy, To the Moon,
Fair.
Celeste, or A Plague Tale, where you're playing along and suddenly a line or a very intricate detail or moment just kind of hits you and you're like, oh, okay, That's probably gonna live in my head forever. But whether it came from a cutscene, a betrayal, a soundtrack, or an episode that you stayed up way too late to watch, please tell me your spiral story. Or I don't know, if there's a show that hit you a little harder than you expected, drop it in the comments because I need to hear your recommendations. What should I start off this next arc watching? I'm very open to spiral.
Hmm, a spiral show? I don't know. If she liked AOT, she's watching Jujutsu Kaisen and um Demon Slayer. The safe option to give her would be Hunter x Hunter, I think. I think Hunter x Hunter is the safest option because it's right up the alley of the stuff that she's currently watching, but it's also like different in its own way. And then she'll end up like me and have posters in the background of her setup that is Gone's face. Uh yeah, I don't know. I noticed that like since she does like the kind of like more emotionally driven shows, I think a romance is the way to go. There's a lot of really good romance shows that'll put you through the ringer. Seventh Time Loop is one that I could recommend for sure. Oh my god, Seventh Time Loop. I just watched that one a few weeks back. My god, is it so good so far. I cannot wait for the next season. I can't. I really can't. Call of the Night. I could recommend that all day. Oh, it's such a beautiful show. The way they set up the vibes, the art style is unique. It's such a like a refreshing show. And they got a second season coming out around the corner in July.
Spiraling again. So let's build a watch list.
True. W video, man. My first video reacting to the background NPC. She killed it, man. I like this video. It was very it feels very genuine, very wholehearted, and I do feel like there should be more videos like this where people share their personal experiences and they kind of put themselves like in a vulnerable position because like you the more you put yourself out there the more like you're opening yourself up to criticism and yeah no this was a fantastic video all the best all the best and let me know down in the comments guys what are the videos you want to see me react obviously go to her channel give her a sub give her a like and I will catch you guys on the next video I suppose later peace